Good evening, everyone. This is your mentor Shivani Sharma from mentorbuddy.com. I hope I'm audible to all. Can you all hear me? Please respond through the chat box if I'm audible to everyone. Good evening, everybody. How are you all doing? Good to have you all again with us. Hi, Damini. Hi, Rakshita, Ramya, Nishita, Haritha, Saurabh. I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. I hope all of you are keeping safe, right? Okay, so let us quickly start today's session. And the session today is another very, very interesting one. And this is my personal favorite also in a sense because the skill about which we are going to learn in the class today, this is useful not only for you as students, but for everybody, right? So as a part of a corporate life, we all need to learn and understand this, right? So before I could really start the session, I just have a quick assessment for all of you, right? I'm going to show you a questionnaire, right? And I would appreciate if all of you are going to share your answers with me. I just want to check the level of your understanding. What do you understand by written communication skills? Right, as today's session is on written communication skills, let me just show you what it is all about. Right, my screen is visible. Let me show you this. All right. So today we are going to talk about workplace communication, right? This is very important for you because once you are a part of a corporate scenario or of a workplace setting, how you speak and what you speak is going to play a very significant impact on your performance, right? So this is very important for you to understand. Before I could really start with that, I just want all of you to do a quick communication skill quiz, right? So if I want to ask you, which of these is a communication skill? You just have to respond through the chat box. Which of these is a communication skill? Talking at the same time as someone else? Is this what you mean by communication skill? Listening to what people say or putting your fingers in your ears? What is communication skill? See, I am just uh, discussing these few MCQs just to set the stage right, and I just want to assess that so far we have completed 6 sessions talking about soft skills. Let me just see your understanding, right? All these questions are on a little lighter note, not very tough, so I would request all of you to respond through the chat box. Right, Maitri, other students can see screen is not available. You're not able to see the screen. All right, wait, let me show. Can you see this now? All right, good. Now my first question to you all is, which is a what do you mean by communication skills? Talking at the same time as someone else, listening to what people say, or putting your fingers in your ear? I'm sure all of you know the answer, right? Everybody knows the answer, right? I am highly disappointed by those students who are saying option A. How come you feel that option A is what we mean by communication skill? In the last 6 sessions, I've told you this. If I'm speaking something and you are also talking at the same time, do you think this is communication skill? No, dear, it is not. Communication skill mean listening to what people say. So the correct answer for this question is option B. Now look at the second question. Which of these is not a communication skill? Running, texting, or chatting to people? Question number 2. What is the answer? Running, texting, or chatting to people? Very good. Yes, running is not a communication skill, rather, chatting and texting are. Right? Very good. Now, look at the third question. What body language shows that you are listening? Read the question properly and then answer. What body language shows you are listening? We have already talked about body language. What body language shows that you are listening? If you're turning away from the speaker, does that show that you're listening? Or you are nodding and making eye contact with the speaker? Does that shows that you're listening? Or when you're looking out of the window? What body language shows you are listening? Very good. I could see everybody giving a correct answer. Some of you looking out of the window. How can that be a good body language? Tell me. If I'm teaching you and all those who are looking out of the window, or those, who are just looking at what their siblings are doing or what mother is cooking in kitchen, that is very bad, because that is ineffective communication. You will not be able to understand what I'm saying, right? So the correct body language, if you want to show somebody that you are listening, you're nodding, and you have to nod and make eye contact, right? Now look at question 4. Akshay has already answered the question number 4, right? Question number 4, again an easy one, right? Which of these is not a communication skill? Okay, can somebody tell me? Fine, fine, fine. I know all of you know the answer, but now the twist in the question is, how can you consider laughing as a communication skill? Laughing. Laughing will come under verbal or non-verbal. Is laughing a verbal communication or non-verbal? Very good. Laughing is non-verbal. So it will come in gestures, right? In facial expressions, right? And with this facial expression, you are showing the other person that you are comfortable in that scenario, or depending upon the situation. Very good. I'm glad that you people have understood the concepts. Good to see that. Someone is telling you about an incident they have had. How would you react? Suppose somebody met with an accident, right? And they're telling you about it. How are you going to react? You will look pleased, or you will look behind you if there is something, at the backside, or you will look concerned. Oh my God, what happened? Then maybe through the usage of words, or maybe through your body language, you're just communicating that you're concerned that whether the other person is all right or not. Very good. I appreciate all those who are responding. Really happy to see the responses. Yes, look concerned. No, beta, it's not A. Look pleased. Now, here, pleased means a sort of happiness or comfort. Now, if somebody is coming up to you and telling you that he or she met with an accident, are you going to be comfortable with that? Or you will show your concern? You'll show your concern, right? So, that is how communication skills play a very important role in establishing relationship also, isn't it? Let's have a look at the next question. I'm sorry, I've scrolled it much. Just a moment. Right. Now look at this question. It says, which of these is a communication skill? Checking the weather forecast, checking the time, or checking that you have understood someone? What is communication skill? I'm sure all those who have been attending my classes regularly know this, right? Very good. I could see unanimously you all have given a right answer. Very good. I really, really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for answering this. Right. So when you are, and how do you, okay, let's go a step further. How would you check, or how, suppose I'm the sender of the message. I'm the sender of the message and I am taking this session. We are discussing about communication skills. I'm putting across a message to you. You are the receiver of the message. How can I check that you have understood me or not? How am I getting to understand that you are able to comprehend? Okay. Purushottam, what is the exact word? No, I'm looking for the exact word. Students. No, no. Try to recall the communication process diagram, that flowchart that I've shared with you. I'm the sender of the message. I'm encoding the message through a medium. I'm transferring this message to you all. Very good, Saurabh. Yes, this is the answer which I was looking for. Feedback. So you are decoding the message as a receiver and you are sending me the feedback. And what is the feedback for me right now? You people are responding through the chat box of different questions, right? So feedback is the way in which you get that whether your receiver has understood the message properly or not. Excellent. Right. So now question number 7. Which of these is a communication skill? Saying the same thing over and over. Do you think this is communication skill? Or saying why you believe something? Or saying what people want to hear? What do you think? What is communication skill? Very good. For question number 7, saying what people want to hear. In the past sessions, we have been discussing about this, that the basic rule for communication is to design your communication keeping in mind your audience, whether that is written communication or verbal communication. Very nice. Now, question number 8. If you don't agree with someone else, what would you say? What would you say if you don't agree with someone? You are wrong. I don't agree with this. Stop talking rubbish. Very good. Most of you have given answer as B, but those of you who have given answer as A, please don't make use of any negative words whenever you are in communication with anybody. No, Sagar, you cannot say stop talking rubbish. We are talking about workplace communication. So you don't agree with your colleague. What are you going to say? You are wrong. You can simply say, I don't agree with this, right? The other person has all the liberty to say whatever they want, but you're not going to say you are wrong. There might be different perspectives of the same situation, right? So this is a golden rule for communication. Don't ever make use of negative words, right? So you can simply say, I don't agree. The other person may not be wrong. We're not there to judge, but you are not going to say that. All right. Now look at the question number 9. If you have to ring the doctor's surgery, what information might you need to have ready? Suppose you have to go, let's say, for an doctor surgery. So what do you think? What are you going to have with you? Your shoe size, your national insurance number, or your name and date of birth? Your name and date of birth. I'm not saying your health insurance. It's not your health insurance. It might be your life insurance, right? So yes, option C, your name and date of birth, right? This was a funny question. If you want to complain, what is the best way to behave? Yes, students. If you want to complain, what is the best way to behave? Stay calm, but stick to your point. Get very angry and you start shouting, or you get ready to cry. Amazing. A is the answer. Very good. Stay calm, but stick to your point. Amazing. Very good. I'm sure that most of you have got 10 on 10. With few students might have got 9 or 8, but majority of the class has got 10 on 10, isn't it? How many of you got 10 on 10? How many of you got 10 on 10? Very good, Rohan. Very good. Very good, Purushottam. Even 8 is not a bad score. Pavan, good. Who has got 11 on 10? Subramaniam. Very nice. I appreciate that. Okay. Very good. Amazing. 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 All right. Now let us quickly go back to the presentation. I think everybody is full of enthusiasm now to start, isn't it? Did you all like the quiz? Was it interesting? Yes. I thought that let me just change, the way in which we have a class. Very interesting, isn't it? Right. So from now on, right. Thank you so much. For each class now we'll be trying different ways because we have already been connected for quite some time, and you know me and I know you as well. So we'll try to opt for different ways of class starting, right? Okay, wonderful. Now let's talk about the session today. Whatever we have dealt with, that is very important. And I think that we are able to understand and we are able to confront the reality that what is important. I'm just skipping the first few slides, considering that you are aware of this. Today's class is on workplace communication, right? We have already been talking about all these things earlier as well. Just a moment. Right, we have been doing this. So today's session is on workplace communication. Let me just start the slideshow. I'll be going a little quickly on the first few slides. Reason being, we have invested some time in the quiz. Right. Okay, so we are just skipping this. We'll be talking about types of workplace communication and do's and don'ts of workplace communication. I'm sure you are aware of the ground rules of the class. So let us quickly start with what do we mean by workplace communication. So basically, workplace communication is a process where we exchange information both through verbal and non-verbal cues within an organization, right? So the communication that takes place within an organization is termed as workplace communication, as simple as that, right? It involves both verbal and non-verbal cues. Now, effective communication at workplace. Now, if you are not able to communicate effectively at workplace, that is going to cost, productivity loss and high attrition rate in terms of people leaving the organization, less job satisfaction, unhealthy work culture, and lot many problems, right? You would obviously like to work in an organization where there is healthy work environment, right? And effective communication plays an important role in creating that healthy work environment. So effective verbal and non-verbal communication skills are valuable in the workplace. And I'm sure that all of you are aware that there are companies which spend a lot of money so that they can train their employees on how to effectively communicate at workplace. Right? There are a lot of corporate trainings that happen in the organizations where they try to train their employees on the communication aspects. Right? So you all are blessed that you got an opportunity to attend this online sessions. So you should be thankful to Mentor Buddy for organizing these sessions, and you should be thankful to your college for coordinating with us so that you can join us for these soft skills session and you're learning all these things. So let us try to understand what are the different types of workplace communication so that you'll be able to understand that when you are entering the organization, what are the things that really play an important role for you. Try to comprehend the information and then we'll discuss.
no single type of workplace communication that we can choose and expect that it will serve all our communication requirements. Speaking of the workplace, there is always one preferable type according to communication and business experts: face-to-face communication. This is the most preferred type of communication in the workplace since it allows you and the person you are talking to send and receive message clearly and in person. It has very little room for misunderstanding since validation and confirmation can transpire within the conversation. Also, the message is emphasized and reinforced with appropriate gestures and facial expressions, which are necessary elements for clear and consistent communication. Use face-to-face communication in all possible occasions. This time, remember to clarify basic binomials of each question and information. Take turns talking and listening, and avoid stepping on the other person's statement. Communication is another way to communicate, but at this time, misunderstanding is more likely to occur since there is no element of tone, volume, tempo, and pitch for voice, and neither the presence of gestures and facial expressions. Written communication comes in the form of email, memo, circular, advice, and other business correspondence, which we will take up in another video. Use this written type of communication only where face-to-face time is not possible due to form, distance, time difference, or familiarity and number of recipients. In written communication, remember to write in clear, concise, and crisp sentences. Avoid jargon and cliche. Shift between formal and informal tone depending on the intended recipient, but always observe pleasant business language. A workplace always feels like a workplace where there are telephones for incoming and outgoing calls. Phone communication is vital if the team you manage or belong to is remotely located. One important thing to bear in mind when choosing to communicate through phones is to always make your voice sound friendly with that famous smiling voice. This is simply talking on the phone while smiling. A word of caution: always begin and take on a formal tone of communication as you do not see who you are talking to. Remember to always be on guard for your tone, pitch, volume, and tempo when speaking. Well-coordinated facial expressions and body language enhances your message delivery and how well you receive the other person's message. Appropriate facial expression all through the conversation is expected at all times. This is an effective element to suggest understanding, doubt, lack of information, or clickbait. In body language, keeping both hands on the side with a well-balanced stance would mean interest and attention. It also won't hurt to occasionally nod your head while the other person is talking. Keep in mind that this type of communication is only to reinforce your main verbal communication and not to take its place. That's all we have for you in Workflow today. Watch out for our next 3-minute workplace skills video.
Right. So I hope that you like this. Like this, I have some question. Right. So just a quick reminder of the process of effective communication that we have dealt so far. So the sender of the message, that means I have to be very clear about what do I mean by my message. And the message is what I say. And you as a receiver, what you hear, that is also very important. So let me just check that how you people played your role of being a receiver. I have few questions from the video that I've just showed. Now I'll be asking questions to all of you, right? So that I can understand whether you were watching the video or not. Ready for the questions? Today we are going to have more of the question answers round, right? All right. So what is, am I audible now, Kajal? Nishita, am I audible now? All right. So my first question is, as you saw in the video, which is the most preferred type of communication? We have talked about different types of communication. My question is, which is most preferred type of communication? Very good, Ramya. Komal, Spandana, Jaya, Shobika, Harinath. Very good. Not facial expression, dear. It's face to face. Very good. Amazing, amazing. So you all were listening, right? Yes. Face to face communication is the most preferred way of communicating. Reason being, it involves all the cues, verbal cues also, as you're talking with the help of words. You are right. Then non-verbal cues are also important because the receiver of the message is able to have a look at you, right? And moreover, you can get the quick feedback, right? So it completes the entire communication process in one go. Right. Now, my second question is, in which type of communication misunderstanding is most likely to happen? In which type of communication misunderstanding is most likely to happen? Okay. Telephonic, voice, phone communication, phone. Okay. Telephone, indirect, phone conversation. Okay. GD, phone communication, phonics. All right. Phone communication. All right. While texting. Okay, Harita. Yes, students, give it some more thought. Phone communication, telephonic conversation. Spandana, very good. Yes. In written communication, there are more chances of misunderstanding. Why? Because non-verbal cues are not present. There is no paralanguage that is involved. There are no non-verbal cues that you can have a look at or you can understand with the tone of voice what is the speaker's intention. So there are more chances that through a written form of communication your message might be misinterpreted, and that is why it is even more important to learn written communication in terms of workplace. Right, because whatever you are writing on a piece of paper can always act as, as a legal document also. I hope that you remember we have already discussed about, the importance of written communication earlier. So then you cannot claim that, okay, I'm so sorry, this was not what I intended, right? Or once you have, said something, you cannot take it back. So it is very important for you to understand few tips that how you are going to be an effective written communicator in terms of workplace communication. All right. So let us learn process of effective communication. Just a moment. Right. So there are few tips for workplace communication that I would like to share before we start, particularly about written communication. The first tip says learn to listen. Now this talks about verbal communication more, right? But of course, when we say accuracy or think positive, then it means, it is also going to have an impact on written communication as well. So whenever you are into any kind of verbal communication, you should learn to listen. How can you learn to listen? Maintain eye contact and always focus on the speaker. Second important element is think positive. What do we mean by think positive? Maintain a positive attitude. View problems as challenges. Right? Students, it reminds me of a story. Would you like to listen to a story about positive attitude? Let me just share a quick, a small story. So once there was a monastery, right? And there was a had monk there. He always used to organize an annual meeting, right? And all the monks who were the trainees, they used to all assemble at one place, right? And they all were allowed just to speak once with the head monk, right? So in entire year, they were just allowed to speak once. And in this one time also, they can only share two words. Right. So all the trainee monks can only share two words with the head monk. So there was a monk, a trainee monk, after his first year at the monastery, when he was also being called to the annual meeting, right? So head monk called him and said that it has been 1 year now. So what are the two words that you would like to speak? So the monk said, bed hard, right? Now listen to the words carefully, right? So the trainee monk said, bed hard. That means that he was complaining about the bed, that it is very hard. 1 year later, the monk was again called, right? And then again that it has been 1 year now. What are the two words that you would like to speak to the head monk? So the trainee monk said, food awful, right? He said that the food is awful. He meant by that the food is awful, right? Awful means bad. So the head monk said, I see. Yet another year again passed. Again, he was called after a year to the head monk. And then he said, okay, so what are your two words now after, completing 3 years here? So the trainee monk said, I quit, right? And the head monk, without any amazement or, he just said, well, I can see why, right? So he said, well, I can see why, that why you quit, right? Now, you may be wondering that what has this to do with the communication skills? The head monk replied that in the past 3 years, I have only seen you complaining about things. Right. In the first year, he said bed hard. Second year, he said food awful. And the third year, he said, I quit. Right. So the monk was also very aware. So, if how can we relate this story with the communication skills? Students always remember the more you say, the less people will remember about what you have said. Right. So had there had been a conversation between the monk, the head monk and the trainee, of few paragraphs, then you would probably struggle to remember it, isn't it? But if I may ask, all of you are going to remember. So can you tell me what was the first interaction which the trainee monk had? What were the two statements that he shared? So the first statement was bed hard and the second statement was food awful. Right. So this goes the same for your communication skills in workplace. Right. So always keep in mind this monk's story. If you want that your boss, your clients, your customers, your juniors, right, or your colleagues should remember what you said, then you should always aim to convey your message powerfully with as few words as possible. Right. So that is the importance of workplace communication. Be short, precise, and to the point, because that this is what people are going to remember. And always view problems and challenge as challenges and don't talk much about it, right? So make a note of what you speak and it will help you stay focused. Self-development, that is confidence. I hope you liked the story. I liked it particularly, so I thought that let me share with my students. Do you all like the story? Right? So always keep in mind this story and be very, very precise in expressing. And this story also has another connotation. Don't talk negative, right? Be positive in the terms of what you focus on and what you speak if you want to be an effective communicator. Okay. Now, if we talk about workplace communication, it can be grouped into four main areas, and these main areas are verbal, non-verbal, listening, and written. In last two classes we have talked about verbal communication and non-verbal communication. So today we are going to focus on written communication, right? Written communication skills. So broadly speaking, there are two types of written communication: external and internal. The different types of external communication are electronic mail, that is, we call it as email also, internet websites, letters, proposals, telegrams, faxes, postcards, contracts, advertisements, brochures. All these are external communication elements. That means you are communicating with people who are outside your organization, right? The external stakeholders of the organization. So these are those types of written communication. Then there are certain types of written communication that we use to communicate with the people of the organization, those who are working in the organization. We also call them as internal stakeholders. How do we communicate with them? Through memos, reports, bulletins, job descriptions, employee manuals, and again, emails. Right? So that is why it is very, very important for you to understand the basics of written communication so that you can communicate effectively with both internal and external stakeholders of the organization. Now, these are broadly few tips for written communication. It goes same whether you are talking about business writing or you are talk about any kind of professional writing. We'll start from here. Learn the basics. Right? Do you know what do we mean by learn the basics? Learn the basics means you should be very clear about grammar rules. You should be clear about the, the parts of speech and how to present. Right? Think before you write. Right? Please don't write, as I told you, that piece of paper or that email that you are going to send to the other person, right? It has full capacity of being misinterpreted, right? And then you cannot claim that, no, I did not mean to say that. So think before you write, know your audience. We have talked about this. This is the base of communication skills, whether it is verbal or non-verbal, written or oral, that whenever you are communicating with anybody, you should be very clear about who your audience is. Make all your writing very, very important. Follow a proper process. So the process that I would like to show is WIN, right? So keep this acronym in mind, WIN. I always follow this, WIN. WIN means what the letter intends to say. I means the information, and N means note of action to be taken. So in business communication writing, WIN acts as an acronym. WIN, W stands for what is the crux of the letter or what is the objective of letter. I means related information with that objective, very precise information, and N means a note of action, what you want the other person to do on this. That's it. Don't ever intend to write 15, 16 lines email. Nobody is going to read that. Nobody is having so much of time, right? Deal with conflicts carefully, right? We'll be discussing more about this when I'll take up a module on conflict management. Write consistently and be authentic. Don't ever write something which you are not sure of, or don't mention any figures, statistics, references which you have not checked. Right? So these are few tips for written communication that you should always keep in mind. Now, whenever you are writing something, plan what you want to say in your letter or report. Always make a kind of a rough print of that, or what do you say, a blueprint of that, right? So that you are able to cross check it, you are able to redo it, and you make yourself double sure before sending any official email, right? The second most important element which people don't remember, always start with a positive phrase. We have just now had a question in the MCQ test which we have done, right? Don't ever start with a negative word or a negative sentence. Always start with a positive phrase. Check spellings and punctuation. Now, this is something which is very important and absolute no, right? No grammatical errors and no spelling errors, right? In professional communication, this is considered to be very bad. And people see how you write is going to speak about your personality, because nobody has met you, or the person who is reading the email is not seeing you in front, so is able to you know um, understand your personality on the basis of the email or the letter or the report that you're sending. Use simple language, avoid ambiguous words. Please don't try to be Shakespeare when you are writing an email or a professional report. Nobody is going to judge you on your grammatic, on your literature skills, that how flowery English you make use of. Don't make use of any jargons or any technical words. Please make very simple and precise statement, and keep your language very simple to comprehend, right? Don't try to play with the statements and the words, because again, that might be misinterpreted by the reader, right? Then you will land up in trouble. Edit the letter by cutting ruthlessly. If you Please always do the editing part before sending. Be kind to others' eyes. What do I mean by this? That means the font size is very important. Don't make it so small that the receiver of the message has to wear spectacles, the glasses to read that. And don't make it too bigger that it seems that as if you are shouting, right? And the brevity is also very important. Brevity means the usage of the white space, right? So don't clutter your mail or report with a lot of information. You can make use of tables and graphs while preparing a formal report or professional report. And please make use of the language you are better at. Don't try to show off something which you are not good at, right? Don't try to do that as well. Or you can always take the help of somebody who's professional in that. Avoid using you while making any criticism. Just now we had a question based on this, right? I hope that you people are now able to understand why ma'am has shown some MCQs first and then started with the session. I just wanted to correlate, right? Now, since you people have already done those questions, they are there in your mind. So whenever you're talking about any negative thing, you are wrong. That is not a right statement to make. Rather, you can say, I don't agree, right? Avoid using slang language. Don't try to copy American English, because Americans make use of a lot of slang words, right? So please make use of proper professional words when it comes to workplace communication. You are not allowed to express your anger and frustration. If you are feeling angry, please take some time out, sit alone, calm yourself down, go have a glass of water and come back, right? You are not supposed to vent out your negative feelings in terms of writing something, or in terms of showing your agitation and frustration on your colleagues or juniors for that matter. And when you are writing something, ensure that you are going to proofread it. Check whether the grammar is right and the spellings are right. Nowadays we have so many of tools which are available that can help you in checking the grammar, checking spellings and everything, right? So please make yourself check that content at least 2 times before sending it, right? Now let me show you just an example. I'm showing you 3 things how you can write 10 crores. Can you tell me which one do you think is the best form of writing? First, second, or third? Of course, the third one, right? Why? Because at one go, anybody can read it and cannot misinterpret. In reading this one, the way the first one is written, you're going to count how many zeros here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I might miss on one of the zeros, right? Or I might add on another zero to it. It can be done, right? It is very, very much possible, right? So it is always ideal to to write in a terms which is very clear and legible, which just leaves no chances of misinterpretation or miscommunication. Now, whenever you are writing letters and emails, and as we have discussed that this is an important element as far as written communication is concerned, there are few things which you should always keep in mind. Subject lines are the headlines. So don't ever leave that subject line blank, and try to write the subject line in a manner that in bullet point you are covering the objective of the letter, right? Because the person who's going to read the email will just look at the subject line and will decide whether to read it or to send it to trash. Make one point per email. Be clear and concise. Don't write stories in your emails. Nobody is going to read that, right? However, there are exceptions to some situation where you are asked for some, clarification on something or something, right? Then also try to write in points. Don't write in paragraphs. Specify the response you want. Remember, I told you the acronym WIN, right? So lastly, when you are ending the email, you should make a clear statement that what is the response that you expect from your from the receiver of the message on this. And be a good correspondent. Be a good correspondent means talk about the precise information, right? And don't just juggle around the words. Now, another very important element which I always teach to my students when I talk about written communication is make use of active and not passive voice. Now, you can understand this by reading these few examples. So, you can make use of the passive voice saying, the report was written by Jamie and was found to be excellent. Now, this is not a right way. Rather, you can say, Jamie wrote the report, which was excellent. Now, students, just listen to me. Another very important aspects. Of course, writing in active voice is always good. But if you have to talk about anything that is negative, right, then try to make use of the passive voice and frame your sentence in a manner that instead of making the other person at fault, you can divert the fault to a particular context and not the person, right? The second example says the control system measured the values automatically. And the passive voice says the values were measured automatically by the control system. Now, it also depends that on which word do you want to put your emphasis on. If you want to emphasize on the values, then you can make use of passive voice. If you want to emphasize on the control system, then you need to make use of the active voice. But as far as business communication is concerned, we try to make use of active voice in all the positive statements. The manager reported that the project was in trouble, right? It was reported by the manager that the project was in trouble, right? Now, let us talk about a few conversational style. This will be helpful for you when you'll be writing your emails. So there are basically two conversational style. One is old fashioned and the other one is contemporary, which people nowadays are making use of. I refer to your letter. Now, this is very old fashioned kind of a cliche statement to make. Instead of this, you can write, thank you for your letter. Please find enclosed my CV and other details. Instead of that, you can write, so I have attached my resume for your kind reference, or I have attached my experience letter for your kind reference. Contact this office on the below mentioned mobile number or any details. Instead of that, you can write, please contact me on this number, right? So try to make use of newer ways of writing and sending across the information. But when I say try to find out new ways, I do not mean that you start playing with grammar and you are making use of the words that the other person has to sit with a dictionary to understand the meaning of these words. Please make use of very simple language. We are in receipt of thousands of applications for this post. We have received 500 applications for this post. So allow us some time to review that and we'll get back to you shortly. All right. So try to make use of the words and the statements which are used contemporarily and not the old fashioned cliche sentences. Right, students? So far we have covered the different elements which are very, very important when you are making use of. Now I'm going to show you a summarize form. Now this video will help you in understanding 4 keys to effective business writing. And I would appreciate if you people are going to listen to it very attentively so that after going through the video, we can have an interesting discussion based on this. Ready to go? Let me just check that audio thing first.
The purpose of effective writing at work is always to accomplish a specific goal and to be persuasive as possible. Effective writing on the job is carefully planned, thoroughly researched, and clearly presented. Your writing will be more effective if you ask yourself these four questions. Read what I write. Identify your audience. Why should they read what I write? Establish your purpose. What do I have to say to them? Formulate your message. And how can I best communicate? Select an appropriate style and tone. The questions who, why, what, and how do not function independently. They are all related. You write for a specific audience with a clearly defined purpose in mind about a topic your readers need to understand in a language appropriate for the occasion. Once you answer the first question, you're off to a good start towards answering the other three. Knowing who makes up your audience is one of the most important responsibilities as a writer. Keep in mind that you are not writing for yourself, but for a specific reader or group of readers. Expect to analyze your audience throughout the communicating process. Some fundamental points that you need to keep in mind when identifying your audience include members of each audience differ in their background, experiences, and needs. How you picture your audience will determine what you say to them. Viewing something from the audience's perspective will help you select the most relevant details for the audience. You can form a fairly accurate picture of your audience by asking yourself key questions before you write. For each audience you need to reach, consider the following. Who is my audience? What individuals will likely be reading my work? How many people make up my audience? How well does my audience understand English? And how much does my audience already know about my topic? Further, what's my audience reason for reading my work? What are my audience's expectations about my written work? What is my audience's attitude towards me and my work? And finally, what do I want my audience to do after reading my work? Establishing your purpose by knowing why you're writing will help you communicate better and find the writing process itself to be a bit easier. The reader's needs and your goal in communicating will help you formulate your purpose. It will guide you to determining exactly what you can and must say. Make sure that you follow the most important rule in occupational writing. Get to the point right away. At the beginning of your message, state your goal clearly. Don't feel as though you have to entertain or impress your reader. Put the bottom line up front. Your message is the sum of the facts, responses, and recommendations you put into writing. The message includes the scope and details of your communication. Scope refers to how much information you give readers about key details. Details are the key points that you think readers need to know. Style refers to how something is written rather than what is written. Style helps to determine how well you communicate with an audience and how well your readers understand and receive your message. Style involves the choices that you make about the construction of your paragraphs, the length and patterns of your sentences, and your choice of words. You will have to adopt your style and take into account different messages, different purposes, and different audiences. Tone in writing, like tone of voice, expresses your attitude towards a topic and towards your audience. Your tone can range from formal to impersonal, a scientific report, to an informal personal email or other exchange to customers. Your tone can be unprofessionally sarcastic or diplomatically agreeable. Tone, like style, is indicated in part by the words that you choose. For example, saying someone is concerned about details conveys a more positive tone than saying the person is a nitpicker. The word economical is more positive than stingy or cheap. The tone of your to your work and your organization, depending on your tone, you would appear sincere and intelligent or angry uninformed.
Right. So students, I want to check with you. What with you? What you have any questions from the video? Am I audible now? Am I audible? Okay. All right. So there are four things which are very important to understand who is your audience, because once you have information about your audience, then according to that you are going to frame your message. You are going to decide which medium of message transmission are you going to make use of, right? Why do you want to communicate? That is also very important, so that the objective is very clear. What you want to communicate, you should be clearly aware of what is actually the information that you want to put across and how do you want to communicate that, right? Is there anything from this video that you would like to discuss with me? Anything from the video that you would like to discuss, students? You can raise your queries. Any questions so far? No? All right. So thank you so much. So this brings us to the end of the session, right? Now let me just take you through the last bit of the presentation. I have not yet received the resumes. There are 30 students only who have responded with a resume, right? Whereas others have not. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to plan a mock session with these 30 students only, considering that everybody else is very well prepared. So I'll not take up that, right? Those students who have not got the session certificate, I would request them to write on support@mentorbuddy.com. You can see the email address out here, right? So please do write on support@mentorbuddy.com for your certificate related issues. You can write to me and connect with me on feedback.mentorbuddy@gmail.com, right? So if you have any questions related with the sessions, you want to share your resume, you want to be a part of the mock interview sessions, these are mock interview sessions will happen over a Google Meet or a Zoom call, right? So that I can interact with you all, right? So please share your resume with me if you want to be a part of that Zoom call. right? I would appreciate if all of you can upload all your certificates and tag us on LinkedIn at Quantum Learnings. How and for all the upcoming webinars of mine, you can register for these webinars on Center of Excellence, right? So Center of Excellence, you have to visit and you can register for my upcoming webinars. And you all have to undergo through a soft skills test that is available on mentorbuddy.com, right? Chandan Raj Patil, I am not from Monk industry for your information, and I don't appreciate what you are doing right now. You have sent me 15, 16 messages of the same question. This is highly disrespectful. I don't want these kind of stuff in my classes, right? So please don't do like this. I was speaking something, you should have waited for me to complete what I was saying. So anybody who is talking about or is sharing a story belongs to that industry only. That was just a short story which I wanted to share with you. It's fine, it's fine. Okay, please keep this thing in mind from future onwards, right, Chandan Raj? All right. So all those who want to register for my upcoming webinars, they need to visit Center of Excellence and register yourself for the upcoming webinars. A lot of tests are available on mentorbuddy.com. So please go visit mentorbuddy.com and participate in all the soft skills tests there. Right. So all those students who were asking about tone and the other aspects, we have a full-fledged session on email writing. Right. So that is why I have not covered much of the elements, regarding email writing in detail out here. So once we are going to have a session on email writing, I will be covering everything related with it, right? How to mention tone, what should be the font size, right? Which font you should make of use of and all, right? So that's it from my side. Thank you so much for joining, and it was a lovely interactive session. I have enjoyed a lot. I hope everybody has enjoyed the session today, right? So my good wishes and blessings for all of you. Please do write your feedback, right? And do let me know if you want any special session to be organized for you all, right? Thank you so much, students. Stay safe, take care. We'll meet again on Sunday at 11 a.m. for the next session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you so much, everybody, for your appreciation and positive feedback. Thank you. That completes the communication loop, right? Thank you so much, Jaya. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.